Hello friends, I'm Rebecca. This is Body Illumination. Today we are focusing on the pelvic floor and pelvic floor exercises for potential recovery from a prolapse, or maybe you are trying to get ready to have a child, or you're postnatal, whatever it is, pre, post, if there is a prolapse. Make sure you check with your practitioner, your doctor, depending upon your condition and if there's any severity in your condition. But we are talking about toning the pelvic floor beyond Kegel exercises, okay? So this is a yoga and Pilates approach to the pelvic floor, and we're gonna work some exercises and also pretty much fitness-based in general. I'm working with a dear friend, very dear friend, and a client. We are working on some pelvic floor conditioning. So hopefully this video will help benefit her, but maybe somebody else too. So come to a seated position, sit with your legs comfortable in Sukhasana, legs crisscrossed, applesauce. You are also welcome to do this seated in a chair, or you can sit on a pillow or some blankets. However you feel comfortable, just make sure that you are not rounding through the spine. It's really important that you are sitting up nice and tall. And then just sit up nice and tall. Take a moment here, and I want you to think about your pelvic floor. So you have to be very mindful about the pelvic floor. And I want you to tuck your tail under, and then you're going to come into an anterior tilt. And again, tuck the tail under and come into an anterior tilt. So you're tilting your tailbone away. Then hold here for a moment, okay? And I want you to think about the pelvic floor. So when we think about the pelvic floor, a lot of people think about Kegel muscles. I want you to think about the front side, the pubic bone, okay? And then the back side, okay? So lots of times we'll say the feeling that you have to go to the bathroom and then you're stopping, but it's much more than that, okay? So I want you to think about the whole pelvic floor like a hammock, or even like a hammock trampoline, because we want to get that resilience back into the pelvic floor, so that taut feeling. So it needs to move up and down, so it has to relax, and it also has to have that elasticity to it. This is an eye pillow, okay? And we're not going to use it for the eyes, but you can sit on it so that the front part of the cushion is near your pubic bone and the back part is near your tailbone, okay? And you sit on it just like this, you pull it apart, and then you get some feedback when you do these exercises. You can use something else too, any kind of bean bag or even a towel you could roll up. And I want you to think about, again, in the front part, you're going to lift, 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 and in the back part, you're going to lift and then lower down. Now, I want you to also think about the sits bones. So the sits bones, the ischial tuberosities that you sit on, those sits bones move in, so you feel the sides of the pelvic floor, and then you feel the front side and the back side, okay? And you're going to lift everything up. So the musculature in the front part of the pubococcygeal joint and the back part of the pubococcygeal joint. So where your pubic bone is and your tailbone is, and you're lifting up the musculature from the urethra and also from the anus, and lift everything up, 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 up again, and then release it down. So all of that musculature from the front side, the back side, your middle side for even men and women especially, okay? So you're lifting everything up and then release down. And again, lift up, and you can feel the feedback from the bean bag, and then lower down. And again, lift everything up and hold it, hold it, hold it. Don't squeeze your butt muscles though, okay? You're lifting through the pelvic floor. The sits bones do feel like they're moving towards each other though, okay? And then release it down. Okay, we're gonna do this nice and slow. So squeeze everything up and hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then release it slowly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now quickly, ready, lift 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, and slow it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then slowly release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and quick. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release. Okay, so these exercises you should try to do regularly throughout the day. Try not to do this video over and over and over for, 10 sessions. I want you to try to do it throughout the day. So if you can do it in the morning and then in the evening, or the morning, the evening, and maybe even the afternoon, then that's ideal. So again, you're gonna lift 5 counts and release 5 counts. And then quickly for 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. That's the Pilates teacher and me snapping my fingers. Okay, now you're gonna release your little beanbag. You're gonna grab onto a block or a book, or a pillow is equally helpful, and come onto your backside. Now place that block between your knees. Give it a nice squeeze. Then from here, I want you to pull the lower back into your mat. So really pull the lower back into your mat. Then lift up through the pelvic floor, and then squeeze those sits bones towards each other. And if you palpate down here, you should feel those sits bones, okay, with your fingers. But try not to squeeze too much through the butt muscles, okay, the gluteal muscles. I want you to really think about squeezing the sits bones towards each other, lifting through the pelvic floor, tucking the tail under, and then from there, keep lifting the pelvic floor. It's a little bit to think about. Then squeeze your block, lift up on the pelvic floor, hold for 5 and 4, for 3, for 2, and 1, and just release, take a moment. And let's do that one more time. So let's start with the block. Squeeze the block, then lift up on the pelvic floor. Sits bones reach towards each other. Keep squeezing and lifting through the pelvic floor, and lengthen through your lower back. Keep that, and hold for 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1, and then just release it all. Okay, we're gonna add on to that. So again, let's start with the block. Squeeze the block, sits bones reach in, pelvic floor lifts up, lower back lengthens, so the tail tucks maybe slightly. And then from there, I want you to lift your toes up and lower them down. So maintain all of that while you lift the toes up and lower back down, and lift back up and lower back down. Hold it if you can. Do 2 more. Lift and lower. 1 more. Lift and lower, and then release everything down. Now, if you feel a bulge, if you have any type of prolapse, you do not want to keep doing these, okay? So you want to check with your practitioner to make sure you're doing these correctly. You don't want to feel a bulge, okay? So you want to make it even more subtle. Do not lift the toes then. So just break it down until it feels appropriate for you. The muscles will increase. You just don't want to go past your edge, whatever that might be today. And it could have something to do with how you're feeling, if you had a rough day, if you had a bad day, if you're hydrated. So keep all of those things in mind. Do not get discouraged. Okay, we're going to do all of that again. So you're going to squeeze the block, squeeze your sits bones, lift up through the pelvic floor, lengthen through the lower back. Okay, now you're going to lift your heels only up off the floor, and keep maintaining that length in your lower back. And lower back down, just with the heels. And maintain everything. Lift the heels up and lower back down. Okay, 3 more. Ready? Lift and lower. Lift and lower. And lift and lower. And then release it down. Okay, so if you did those the correct way, they're really effective. It's pretty intense. Now, moving on, we're gonna do a little bit of a pelvic clock, okay? And then you can get a break.
For the pelvic clock, imagine that 12 o'clock is up by your head, 6 o'clock is down by your tailbone. When you go up to 12 o'clock, you go into a posterior pelvic tilt, tilting your tail under, lengthening the lower back into the mat. When you go into 6 o'clock, you're going to an anterior tilt, and you're arching your lower back off the mat.
So if you're tired and you're feeling any fatigue, take a break. If you want to move on, squeeze the block, squeeze the sits bones, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen through the lower back. Now keep that length in the lower back. And then you're going to drop your right hip down towards the right. So think of the bowl of the pelvis, and you're dropping it over to the side. Come to center. Drop it over to the left. come to center. Now, tuck it under, and then go into an anterior tilt. And tuck it under. Try to keep that pelvic floor lifting, and then go into an anterior tilt. Now with a pelvic clock, you're going to tuck under, go to the right, let it spill to the right, go down, let it spill to the left, tuck under, and release. Okay, let's do that one more time, and then you're all done, okay? So we're gonna hold here. Again, squeeze the block. Pull the sits bones towards each other. Lengthen through the lower back. Tuck the tail. Drop to the left. So you're gonna spill it over to the left. Drop down. Come over to the right. Spill it over to the right. Come back into the posterior pelvic tilt. And then neutral and release. Okay, so pull your legs in towards your chest. Give yourself a nice little hug. Rock your hips from side to side. And then you're gonna hold the backs of your legs and rock on your lower back, like rolling like a ball. Just come back and come back up, and come back and come back up. Just hold the back of your hamstrings and come back up, and then sit all the way back up. So this is the first video in a little series that I'm doing. So check out the other videos. I'm Rebecca, this is Body Illumination. Check out the playlist for the pelvic floor work. It's very effective. We in the West do not do pelvic floor exercises as much as they do in the East. There's all kinds of exercises. There's even tools and props that you can use to help your pelvic floor. I will put some links below that you can check out. And definitely check out the other videos. Also show links above and below for this series. Have a beautiful day. Namaste, friends.
Check out our morning series. I'll show some links above, and check out our playlist, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell. That's really important. Otherwise you won't be notified of the next videos. And also subscribe at bodyillumination.com. Check out our newsletter and add Rebecca at bodyillumination.com to your mailbox. And it's Rebecca with a K.